Craig Rushesha is somebody who's been living with Echo at Andrew Murray for the past 5 years, and just recently he moved out. And on his leaving, Craig and I had a chat about his time here, and I thought maybe it's worth sharing what we spoke about here on the YouTube channel. So, Craig, thank you for your time and your willingness to contribute again to this conversation about Echo and what it is that we try to do and achieve. You've played a major role. You came here as somebody who was being helped, and you ended up being one of the house leaders and somebody who made a huge difference in all of our lives and in the community. So, on your time here, if you think back, what stands out? What have you learned? What have you experienced? How do you see the future? Please share with us.
Yeah. So every time I think Echo provided me with, every time I moved in, that was like 5 years back, Echo provided me with comfort and also love for an otherwise degraded life or degraded reality. And so I previously stayed alone in a flat in Hebrew, and I was just moving to starting at university first year when I first heard of Echo. And I thought, wow, okay, this sounds interesting. Wouldn't mind living with a bunch of other people and see how that goes. But yeah, I think that has really changed how I view life and yeah, my life in general as well. So yeah, so I'm also grateful for our friendship. I'm also grateful for all the relationships that I've sort of been able to cultivate from Echo and broader community.
Yeah. Craig, what happens in terms of relationships and friendship when a group of people, diverse people, live together like we do here at Echo? What happens?
So Echo is based on the concept of intentional living, and that is sort of found in the conviction that life should be a shared experience, and within life we shouldn't go through life. Life should be a lonely experience, and we should share the little that we have, and share our sorrows, share our joys, and so I think Echo sort of for me filled in those gaps where I was basically with no one in job, and but I found people that were willing to extend compassion and just to love me for who I am, to be able to listen to my stories and then also to listen to their stories, and would sit around for length of times and just discuss life and to reimagine how we want our society to be. And yeah, so I think those then relationships and friendships become so meaningful that you really don't want to lose them because you cherish them so much because they shape how you think and who you are. And yeah.
You once before you said that if you live at Echo, you're sort of almost constantly disturbed. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, of course, because there's a whole lot going on at Echo, and you are sort of constantly being pushed to the edge. And I mean, Jesus also calls us for us to journey deeper into really living lives where we just not only about us, but also about the person next to us. And so by that, I mean, we are at Echo, we sort of have to not only give light, but be the light. And not only give hope, but also be hope, be the hope that you want to see. And yeah, so it's a place that enables that, that sort of the hopefulness. And I don't think it just comes organically. It's something that we really have to sort of sometimes work at and just dig deeper within ourselves.
Yeah. I know that Jaco Strydom, the founder obviously of Echo, he often says that what we do here is definitely not charity. It is community, and he then says that he deems Echo to be successful if somebody, when they leave, know that they are not the recipient of assistance or encouragement or love or compassion, all those things you mentioned, but that they are able to be an instrument in God's hands in order to be to have influence and agency,
Mm.
because that's part of our story as a country, right? That there's often this sort of almost weird perceptions about roles, and I need to help, but I don't always see myself as somebody who needs help. And you once described it beautifully when you said that we really need each other. The one who is able to extend the help is not without the need for love or compassion or encouragement or whatever.
Mm.
Won't you say something more about that?
Yeah. Because with ego, there's this dichotomy, right? Or this perception people understanding ego, saying, okay, there are two people that move into ego: the one who's able to offer help and the one who's in need of help. While that, in some sense, that could be true, but also I think in practicality, that quickly also the roles can quickly turn around, where the one who actually all this material stuff, who's able to probably offer money, car, to whatever, or any material things, could also be found in a way that actually be on the receiving end of help from someone who possibly would very little to nothing. So that's quite interesting to be in that situation where you actually realize, again, I think you mentioned that it's just how those power dynamics quickly shift. And I think for me that is quite a powerful sort of social experiment in a sense, and just how much we need each other as humans before anything else. Just share our humanity more than anything else.
Yeah. And I really don't know whether it would be possible to have that depth of connection without sort of engaging the whole almost sphere of life, the good times and the challenging times, the joys and the sorrows, every dimension of it. I don't think it's possible if one is not sharing the space and having the difficult conversations. On that, I would like to ask you about those difficult conversations. What was your experience in terms of living together, being together, and sort of tackling difficult topics between people with diverse backgrounds and perspectives and opinions?
Yeah. So through my journey here at ECHO, it's that a good part of me, I got ignited to be very socially aware of inequalities and how unjust our society is. And that becomes something I got very passionate about. It's something that I also wanted to champion. And I think that was something that will stick for me forever, to just want to advocate for a much more socially just society, an equal world, and the world where every human life is a dignified life. And so this was also through my experiences at ECHO, where these discussions, we don't shy away from these discussions, and it was a place to learn exactly in context how we can participate into reshaping and reimagining how society should look like. So yeah, I think it enabled me to find that part of me, and it's something I'm really grateful for, and something that I think everyone should be should be social justice warrior.
Absolutely. Yeah. In your remark just now, something made me think of the prerequisites for having difficult conversations. Mm-hmm. In your experience here, what has made it possible, or what do you think people need in order to have difficult conversations? What are the prerequisites?
So I think first there need to be a willingness to have a platform where truth-telling and without victimization, and sort of genuine yearning for a deeper connection with other people that we share the same community with, and so just valuing their opinion, valuing their lived experiences, and also within that, also I think doing the hard work to actually dig deeper and saying how could we find workable solutions that could really change the living conditions for those who are on the margins. And I think just in as much that is one of ECO's projects to offers people, those who don't have place of belonging, place to belong temporarily, sort of a stepping stone, somewhere they can be able to advance later in life. But it's also a place where we enable conversations for the broader society, and also a place where we share the little that we have to enable economic or upward mobility, and sort of different social trajectory for regardless where you come from or your background is.
Yeah. Craig, when you talk like this, I just cannot help but think about almost the relevance of this. You called it a social experiment, and I think it is that. I couldn't help but think of the relevance of this for the rest of South Africa and possibly also the rest of the world. Do you think that there is something that we have to offer as people who have tried to engage in the difficult conversations, to not be afraid? Because that was my experience. I mean, you and I have spoken about highly contentious issues and difficult topics. We touched on economic and political realities and ideology, many of those things that at the moment there's a lot of sensitivity around. What do you think we can do to almost encourage people to not be afraid to have those, to do the hard work and to have the difficult conversations?
So I think a safe space where they are ignited to just be able to tell the truth freely, and I think they also have to do the work to be. They also have to be willing to listen to the truth that they might find uncomfortable, and to be able to grapple that truth in its entirety. And I think unfortunately, we live in an era of misinformation and deliberately sort of concocting the truth for nefarious ends. And so we have to be deliberate, but also just telling the truth and being able to share with that and use that truth to be able to empower us. Say, okay, this is actually where we find ourselves, and we can fully and full assess what work needs to be done.
But you are very clearly talking about embodied conversations, embodied debate, and dialogue, and actual sharing, not based on perceptions, or you called it concoctions. I love that word, because in the time that we are living in, it's possible to miss each other completely, because we are not together, sort of sharing spaces and talking freely and with trust. Craig, there's a lot that we could still say. I hope that we can perhaps talk again. We will remain in contact, definitely. And I would like to wish you well for your future, your plans, your dreams. Thank you for what you've done here. Thank you not for what you've done, but for who you are. Your grace, your generosity, your incredibly sharp mind. Thank you for sharing it with me personally and with the others who've been living here. You have broadened my mind, my ideas, my perceptions of truth entirely. And I would really, really like to thank you for that.
Yeah. No, thanks for those affirming words, really. I appreciate it. And also thanks for your friendship, and I hope that it continues for infinity.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Craig.